counting sun to the show. Three, two, one.
All right, welcome to episode 137 of the Narcissistic Music Disorder.
Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Yourself?
Um, I'm good. I'm emotionally distraught right now. The weather has been so killer, and I woke up to snow. It snowed again overnight, and
Oh,
it's too much for me to take right now. It's too much for me to take. It's messing with my mental health. I
some
don't know what to do
Miyagi
about it.
weather.
Dude, it was
Boat
so
on,
nice.
boat off.
Yeah, it was so nice last night. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah, it was beautiful. So, yesterday I spent some time and did some stuff outdoors and what have you. And then I wake up today and it's this. I knew it was going to snow again because I took all the weight out of the back of my pickup. That's a
Oh, yeah.
surefire sign that that's going to happen. So that sucked. But today's topic is exciting to me because first of all, it was easier than I thought and a little harder than I thought too. Like I didn't struggle a ton, but I had some moments where I felt like I was struggling. Um, so why don't you tell everybody what the topic is, please?
I was thinking songs that are over 6 minutes, the longer jam.
Yeah, 6 minute plus songs. Now, the problem with that is like I didn't put any live stuff, obviously. Um,
I did.
because live, I mean, shoot, there's definitely some live Allman Brothers tunes that are
Oh, yeah.
up there. Neil Young too. I mean,
A lot of that on our Facebook.
there's a lot of live there's some live Neil Young like doing Cortez the Killer or Cowgirl in the Sand or Down by the River that are clocking in 12s, 13s.
Yeah, let's see our Facebook comments. There was a lot. Father John Misty, I guess time just makes fools of us all. Bob Baird, of course, A Change of Seasons by
Dream Theater.
Theater. Low Spark of the High Heeled Boys.
Who put that one?
Jen Merchant,
Really? Not my
not your
Jen
wife.
Merchant. Oh, I'm like, that is not my
A
wife.
diff a different one.
A different one. Okay.
Comfortably Numb.
Oh yeah.
Chico, of course, put the Allman Brothers.
Yep.
Elizabeth Reed.
Yeah. Which is
Machine Head from Jacob. Bruce Dan's Bohemian Rhapsody.
oh yeah, that's a good one. Hey man, what's your take on like do you like a long jam?
I do. Yeah, I'm
You
a
do.
jazz guy, so of course.
Yeah, right, of course. So I struggle because I'm so wired for, you know, don't bore us, get to the chorus kind of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
such a pop guy that sometimes I struggle. I also like now it's really popular. There's a lot of quote unquote jam bands out there now. And that's cool. What bothers me is like a good jam band. Like I saw the Allman Brothers, and
Yeah.
and they're obviously a superior jam band. It's when people noodle over the same little bit
Yes.
and that they're like, oh man, we're really exploring the space. It's like, dude, it's boring. And plus, like, no offense to anybody, but sometimes the musicianship isn't there, and they're not like. I mean, I saw the Allman Brothers, and they were doing whip and post, and you could tell it was improv, but they were so like they would have sections of improv, and then they would in the middle of that they would come to a section that you knew had been somehow worked out because they'd play in harmony.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure they're good enough to maybe do that on the fly, but you could tell there were structured sections. And we actually started doing that, like in my band, The Hard Promises. We jammed a lot, but I would construct them. There'd be like I called it the ramp up that we
Yeah.
got into the jam section.
Yep.
And then there'd be a riff that cued off this section that would be structured and then maybe go back off or whatever. So yeah, I like the songs I picked are where like they're studio versions of songs that are really long and that,
Okay.
that could hold my attention. So without further ado, what's your first pick?
The three great Alabama icons
Drive by Truckers.
coming in at just under 7 minutes.
And that's on
Spoken word, most it's on the Dirty South.
are you sure? I think it's on Southern Rock Opera.
Yeah, you're right. The double
Yeah.
disc. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
There's
you're
some
right.
long jams on there. I just had a conversation with Quinn the other day about Drive By Truckers because we were in the car. And I remember one time listening to the Truckers and Quinn saying to me, you really like songs where people are just talking. Because you know how much Patterson does that?
Well, you do. And you also like really spacey stuff.
True, true, true. I like all of that, but
'Cause
I
you're a
really,
Chris Bell fan.
right, of course, I do. I love all that,
And you
and
love that Charlie Sexton record. You love all that spacey stuff.
I do. I like it to be trippy and spacey sometimes, and the truckers like stuff off Southern Rock Opera, like you're saying, three great Alabama icons.
Oh God.
It's great, and but
It's
there's a
such a
lot of
cool story about him coming up, in high school
dude.
and
There's some great stories on that record. Just of even that one I played for Quinn the other day was Days of Graduation, the opening,
yep,
and that's a great
after
example
My
too,
Best Girl.
right? Where he says, and when the paramedics arrived on the scene, they could still hear Freebird playing. It's a very long song. And yeah, so killer. You have three Alabama icons, which is great. So I'll just jump in with my first one, and I don't care if it seems cliched. It was the first experience I had with a lot. I tell the story all the time of Freebird. I'm it's people steal its value because now it's this silly thing you scream out, right? Freebird,
Yeah.
play Freebird. First of all, it's a kick-ass song. Second of all, it was the first song I had experienced on 8-track that switched in the middle from program 3 to program 4.
Oh yeah.
Pronounced. Which was heavy, man. Like for years I couldn't hear it without hearing the click and it was like in the middle of a solo. Freebird is 9 minutes long, 9 minutes 6 seconds long. And the thing I like about Freebird so much is it's interesting the whole time.
Yeah.
And like even the layman, like even, basic music fans, we all can do, meow, 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 now, now, now. Everybody knows that iconic guitar slide part of Gary Rosington's. And it's just I hate, like I said, I hate that its value's been tarnished by people who use it as some sort of, comedic tool or something. But it's
It's
a
the guy who yells that is right up there, right next to the guy who brings an acoustic to a party. You're right next to him. Congratulations, asshat.
exactly right. The
You
guy
should
who
immediately be thrown out of a show if you say that.
or the guy who has a harmonica on him at all times. That guy.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next pick?
It is a cover and
Ooh,
it's live.
wow,
It's on the new Casey Chambers record. Are you familiar with Casey Chambers?
a little bit.
She's like an Americana, but she's
Yep,
from Australia.
yep. I know the
She
name for
does
sure.
Lose Yourself on her new record.
Did you send that to me
I shared it
or
on
you shared it?
Facebook
Yep,
for
I remember
sure.
that. The Eminem
Dude,
song. It's
that
cool.
interpretation, her interpretation of that, she doesn't change any words. It's so bad. She's killer anyway, but it is so badass that I'm including it because
Wow.
even though it's a cover and
Well, it's a cover and it's live. I mean, you're really
dude,
breaking a lot of Scott laws here.
it's so good.
Wow.
It's
All
on her
right.
new record. I think it's called Backbone from Casey
I should
Chambers.
probably listen to that.
She is phenomenal.
Wow. All right. And it's a cover too. That blows my mind. All right. So let me see where I'm headed next. These guys kind of started their band. I think their first record, they were a little more don't bore us, get to the chorus. The songs were leaner and a little more stripped down. I have two songs from this band. I could probably pick more, but these are two of my favorites. They're both clocking in. One's at 6:26, one's at 6:03. It's Bad Luck, Blue Eyes Goodbye, and Thorn
Oh,
in My Pride by the Black Crowes.
yeah.
Live live now, the and if you read, and I know you read Steve Gorman's book, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
He talks about like how if you watch their career, it sort of follows what Chris Robinson is
Listening to?
obsessed with at the time, right?
Yeah.
When he got obsessed with the Grateful Dead, right around Amorica, then the band got really jammy. And I
Yeah, like
remember,
Lions.
yes,
Yeah.
and I remember a friend of mine saying how much he hated. We went to see, or he maybe saw him separate and I saw him, whatever, but he hated the Black Crowes live. He's like, it's terrible. I said, what happened? He goes, well, they jammed a lot and Chris was messing with the melodies. Live, Chris will sing those melodies a lot different.
Yeah.
But the studio versions of Bad Luck, Blue Eyes Goodbye, and Thorn in My Pride are both over, are 6-minute long songs. Bad Luck Blue Eyes Goodbye is such a killer song. There was a video on MTV of it. It was live, and it was from the High as the Moon tour, and it would only come on at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember I was with a friend of mine, and her and I used to study. We were in college together, and we would like power nap in the middle of these study sessions, and both single, so that's okay. But I remember sleeping one time and waking her up because the video came on. Like I heard it and I woke up and I woke her
Oh
up to watch
my
the
God.
video. But yeah, Bad Luck Blue Eyes Goodbye by the Crows. What do you got next?
Found a Friend from Pride and Glory.
Oh man.
Comes in at around like 6:04, I think.
Think
But
you and that was, I mean, Pride and Glory is Zach being Skinnerd, right? Or almonds or all
yeah,
that.
that's
Heavier.
Zach being himself mostly.
Well, I sort of wish I wouldn't mind another Pride and Glory record,
I
to be
wouldn't
honest with you.
either.
With that lineup too. I like how he plays. He played during that. That was a good time for me for Zach, and I love Zach Wild. Pride and Glory was a good time because he looked cool, he played cool, there was nothing there never is a whole bunch fancy about him, but he hadn't fully absorbed his motorcycle dude image yet,
No.
which I don't hate. Like I like Zach Wild just because Zach Wild can laugh and laugh at himself.
Yeah.
But I miss the Pride and Glory Zach. And that's a great song. There's so many great songs on that record anyhow. For one album.
Yeah, it's a
It's
fantastic record.
fantastic. Yeah. God.
That's a funeral song for me. Found a
Oh,
Friend.
wow. Nice.
Yeah.
There's other things I like on that record. I think Machine Gun Man's on that record.
It is.
Yeah, there's some cool songs on there. And then
Troubled Line, all those.
did he follow that up with that acoustic record, Book of Shadows? He did.
Yeah, 98 that came out, Book of
Yeah.
Shadows. And then he did a second Book of Shadows later in the 2000s.
Yep, I remember that too.
But I don't think it was quite as broken down, or not broken down, but
Stripped down.
stripped down as Book of Shadows 1 was, if I remember right.
I had a student who I haven't seen in years. He was a big Zach Wild fan. He was such a Zach Wild fan that I watched it morph. Like I watched him get into Zach Wild,
Yeah.
and then I watched him become Zach Wild, like beard, big
Oh,
chain. I mean, he
the
was
Viking now?
that was his dude, right? Yeah. All right. Well, in honor of my dear friend and commenter on our Facebook page, guy go back with 20 some plus years, maybe 30 even, 30. In honor of my buddy Bob Barrett, it's the only song by them I really enjoy and know. But Pull Me Under by Dream Theater.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only song of theirs I really know. Now, my buddy Bob is a Dream Theater guy. A guy named Nick Stewart, who I play an American Hair Band with, Dream Theater guy. I have a circle of musician friends who are heavy Dream Theater people. Like they just went out and saw them a few weeks ago.
Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Pull Me Under, when I heard that, I was in college in the music program at community college. And that album came out and it got real big. Like the college, I was in music in college. There were people who that was their major, or that's at least was going to be their major. They're very learned musicians. I was not. But they got into Dream Theater, and so I got turned on to. And I love Pull Me Under. I love the time changes. I love the song. It's cool. I shared it with Quinn. He wasn't super into it, but for an 8-minute and 13-second song, it certainly holds my attention. And Dream Theater can do that. If you're into that sort of thing, they're an interesting band. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
They'll hold your interest. Yeah. What do you got next?
I have I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Son of a bitch. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
My introduction to the Beatles.
And
Not my introduction, I guess, but what made me like, whoa, I got to hear more of this.
Dude, it's on my list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 7 minutes and 47 seconds long.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's there.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it's on my list. Yep. Dude. So, as a kid, I think
And I'm not a John Lennon fan.
no,
so.
And you're not a huge Beatle guy.
Well, I like John Lennon's songs. I'm not a fan of John Lennon the person. But
I can see that. I mean, I get that totally.
I just don't think he's as good as what the people in the public think he is.
I don't think so either. I think history has shown.
My wife said I should apologize to you for the last show because
Did you
I
insult
said
me?
Imagine was a pile of shit
Yeah,
song.
that's a big say.
But it's true though. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for it. It's true.
No.
I believe that. That song sucks. And that's why Steely Dan wrote the diss track. And I know other people that hate that. Ben De La Cour hates that song too.
It so again, it
It's just
seems
pretentious.
I was just gonna say it seems pretty preachy, right?
it's pretentious as hell.
So
It's like listening to fucking Tool.
we went I know we had that conversation recently about Tool,
Talk
who I
about
mean,
pretentious band. That used to be really cool, but just
do you think there comes
into themselves
I
or
was just gonna
something. Or
say
he's into himself. I don't know.
there
Who gives
probably
a shit
comes a
if he's from
time
Grand Rapids?
when you hear how genius you are, whatever it is, it's got to start to inform your actions. Do you know what I'm saying? Like now
Yeah.
you start thinking and doing like you're a quote unquote genius or whatever. Yeah, I get that. But enough about Tool. I want to go back to the Beatle tune because as a kid, um, I want you. She's so heavy's on Abbey Road,
Yep.
and that's a heavy album, dude. There's
Great
some
album.
great songs
My
on
favorite
Abbey Road,
album.
and I forget who sang it in the one of my favorite Beatle moments growing up is the movie, the Bee Gees movie, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club
Yep.
Band. Because like Aerosmith did come together on it, and they may have someone sang that in the movie. I got to figure out who it was. I don't,
Yeah, I
but it
don't
was heavy.
remember.
Like Alice Cooper was in there, and Steve Martin did Maxwell's Silver Hammer, all that stuff.
Yep.
I feel like I Want You, She's So Heavy is in there, but I don't know if it was like Aerosmith covering it. I can't remember.
I could see that.
Me too. The other thing I like about that song, and then I'm gonna leave it alone, is that was one of those early times that I heard the vocal melody follow the guitar line. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow. I mean, that's killer, man. I want
God.
you, where he does the kind of hangs on the bend. Yeah,
Yeah.
genius. Yeah, great pick. Wow, a Beatle pick from Scott. That's huge. I am going on to where am I headed? I think I'm going to go to this is one of my favorite songs by this band. I don't know if the hardcore fans I know I remember hearing people bitch about it when it came out, like hardcore fans bitch about it when it came out. But I really like Fade to Black by Metallica. Off Ride the Lightning.
Yes.
It's 6 minutes and 56 seconds long. I had heard, and I almost wanted to pick something off Injustice. I had heard that like the Black album, they're the big album, right? The poppiest of all their albums, the sellout album for I guess huge fans of theirs. I heard that was a result of trying to play songs from Injustice on tour. That they were struggling, and now you could do it because you would be on in-ear monitors and you could get cues.
Yeah.
Like your in-ear would say, okay, moving to bridge section B minor or whatever, because they do that in in-ear monitor mixes now. They have cues all over them. On the Injustice tour, I remember them. Damage Justice was the name of that tour. That they were really struggling to keep songs straight, like the parts, because those Injustice songs.
Just marathons.
But Fade to Black is like that too. I mean, that there's a lot of parts to Fade to Black. It's a beautiful song. The other thing I really like is it was a heavy album, that all of a sudden you were like, okay, man, they can put an acoustic or 12 string or,
Yeah.
and kind of make that. And it's still, I'm sure it's still, I think Fade to Black is still a Metallica set, I think.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's a classic.
One of their premiere songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great album minus a couple of tracks like Escape,
Mm-hmm.
Trapped Under Ice.
I was going to say Trapped Under Ice.
Those are not great. Trapped Under Ice maybe should have been a instrumental, and Escape. They did Escape at like the last minute because the record company wanted another song, I think is the story.
Oh, really?
And it was just thrown together.
It's a great album though. I still like
it. Is a great record. Yeah, it was my favorite until, probably Master would be my go-to now.
Until Load came out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like songs off those though.
I do too. I'm
a songs guy after like Justice.
Yeah, and I don't
I like
Yeah, me
songs
too.
off from the Black
Me too.
Album. I like songs off from all of them.
I
But
really like
I
the
even like
last.
a song off Saint Anger.
Oh yeah, I own Saint
There's a
Anger.
song called Frantic that I like off that
Tick tock,
record.
different. Tick tock.
Yep.
Tick. Yeah, and I like. I mean, the last Metallica album I bought was 72 Seasons. Um, I actually like on Load and Reload. I think I heard like Until It Sleeps the other day, which
That's
might be on
cool.
a soundtrack. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
some cool shit in there.
Little slower one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were like during Load era and all of that, they were doing soundtrack stuff too. They were starting to sound like
Oh
just
yeah, I think the
like
first one they did was I Disappear, wasn't it? For
yeah, that
Mission
was a soundtrack.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was just like I don't know, they were starting to sound like all those other hard rock, heavy rock bands at the time.
Yeah. The 2000s, there are a lot of them jumbled together.
Yes, exactly. All right. So we both did Fade to Black. I'm gonna jump into my next one. I'm gonna stay right in the family at 6 minutes and 31 seconds. Holy Wars, The Punishment is Due by Megadeth.
Yeah.
That's a killer song. And I'm not what you would consider a tremendous Megadeth fan. At one time I liked, and I would say that I liked Megadeth better than Metallica, and I'm not sure I don't still.
I still do.
Um I have So Far So Good So What, Killing Is My Business, and Peace Sells But Who's Buying. I have those 3 albums. I own those.
Okay.
Everything after although I tried to turn Quinn on not too long ago to Countdown to Extinction, because there's some good shit on there.
Yep.
But Holy Wars is, I mean, first of all, that era of Megadeth is killer.
Dude,
That's Marty Friedman was in the band.
there's a record in the 2000s that Vinny Colaiuta played drums on for Megadeth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the lineup, I think,
Like The World Needs a Hero, or I don't know, one of those.
and I think this is like Holy Wars is what I consider the classic. I know it should be like one of those earlier lineups should be the classic
Nick,
lineup, but I
Marty,
think yeah, it's
Dave,
Marty,
Dave.
it's Dave, and Nick Menza,
Yep.
and that to me that's the lineup that I thought was. Even though Marty Friedman always bothered me because he played a Jackson Kelly and he wore his guitar too high.
Yeah.
But that era of the band is really probably one of the best for me. Although they were more of a punk rock band, I think, before that. And people might disagree with me, but like the earlier stuff had more. There was more punk, more Pistols and stuff. Well, they covered the Sex Pistols, right?
Yeah, the stuff with like Gar and those guys was
Chris Poland.
Yeah, it sounded punky, and it sounded like a damn like hornet's nest in your head or something.
Yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, I love Holy Wars. The Punishment is Due. I like that era of Megadeth a lot. What do you got next?
11 minutes of When the Music's Over by the Doors.
Yeah.
From Strange Days, my favorite Doors song.
Well, the other thing about the Doors too, and this is if you want if you like want a guarantee that your band's gonna have some jamming, you got to get a B3 organ in there.
Yeah.
Or a key because that man, a killer long B3 solo will make a song really trippy and psychedelic. Plus the Doors were good for they would have the breakdown, that little section. I mean, there's sections in all their songs, like Riders on the Storm and
yep.
Even the hit stuff, that would break down kind of. And
Soft Parade has one.
Yes.
Yeah, some of the longer jams from the Doors have them.
Is Robbie Krieger the only Door still alive?
John Densmore is still alive as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember I told you he was on Justin Long's podcast like a year ago?
I think I remember that. Yeah.
It was hilarious because he kept calling him Mr. Densmore.
Oh, yeah.
And John goes, "Call me John, God damn it."
Yeah. I don't know, man. In the presence of that level of person.
Oh, no kidding.
I can see how you would do that. All right. Where am I headed next? Well, this song is 8 minutes and 41 seconds of some of the most beautiful ballad ever written. It's timeless. Everybody, knows it, loves it. It's one of my favorites. It's Purple Rain by Prince. 8 minutes and 41 seconds long. I just talked to someone the other day who was talking about Prince, and it was kind of not an NMD person or not even a real super music person, but got to talking about the classic, the tribute to George Harrison, where Prince takes the solo on "When My Guitar Gently
Oh,
While My Guitar Gently Weeps." Thank you.
with Petty and everybody on there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Purple Rain is so good. My son just recently got turned on to the album, Purple Rain, the soundtrack. So we're talking about Prince a lot right now, and Bobby Z, Prince's drummer, we're talking about. I just saw Wendy Melvoin was breaking down her Purple Rain guitar sound because it's
Mm.
so iconic. That chorusy sound is very iconic. It obviously wasn't written like in the movie where Prince gets a demo, then they go to, if you watch Purple Rain, the best part about that is he gets a demo of Purple Rain that the band is working on, and Prince being Prince in the movie is kind of like, fuck your song, I'm not working on it. Well, then he does, then they play it live, right? Like he just starts playing it, everyone falls into these perfect parts and the solo's perfect, everything's
Yeah.
perfect. But I don't know that it's got to be one of the biggest ballads of all time. I would think it's got to be one of the biggest ballads of all time.
I would
So,
agree with that. I mean,
and great at the junior high dance, great as an adult, um, beautiful. It's often covered.
did you ever
Um,
hear? Well, speaking of cover, did you ever hear that record? Came out probably in the last 5 years called Guitar Battle.
no.
And it's like Petrucci, Al Pitrelli, all these
Oh,
badass guitar players, and they do like Train Comes a Rollin' and Purple Rain on that record.
do they shred it all up?
Oh, dude, no, they pretty stay pretty true to it actually. They do it, I think it might be all covers. It's like 6 songs, but it's called Guitar Battle.
And, and
I'm sure it's a killer drummer. I'm not sure who the band is, but I know like Petrelli, Petrucci, guys like that are on that record.
well, and the thing with like a song like Purple Rain, it chord progression wise, it lays out nice for soloing. It's a there's a lot of chord changes. It's fun to solo over. I mean, you hear Prince's fantastic solo is amazing, but it's a fun progression to solo over. What you wind up with too is I've seen a lot of people do it um poorly actually and good too. But when I saw the Young Fables do it, like it
Oh,
was just the two of them, and the guitar player looped a part and he soloed over it, and it was pretty interesting. His solo was really cool and kept you engaged. But the covers you see will often be accompanied by a real shitty long guitar solo
okay,
that
yeah,
doesn't really go anywhere because it's a good progression to solo over. It's fun and it lays out nice. But
right.
yeah, people don't know when to say when. All right, what do you got next?
1977 from Mr. Blotto.
Who,
Comes
why do
in
I
at
know?
about 13 and a half minutes. It's pretty much all about touring around mostly in the South. They talk about Alabama and Texas, and it's a great song. They fill their jammy parts really well with, I mean, Bob or who's the guitar player on that record? Mark Hagg, I believe, is the guitar player for Blotto on that record. And
Okay.
if you're into the Dead, I mean, the song starts. That's how the song starts. I saw you standing there looking like Bobby Ware, circa 1977.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Um,
cool.
and it's just so awesome.
Are they
They
from Chicago?
Chicago. Yep.
Yep. They were around here a lot.
Yeah, they
Like,
played like well, I'd see him at Czars a lot. That was like a
yeah,
second
St. Joe.
home.
I thought they
Um,
played in Kalamazoo a bit
they
too.
played Kalamazoo. They played Billy's.
Yeah. Yep,
So
I
yeah,
remember
they've
that
been
band.
here.
Yep.
Great
I actually
guys.
thought they were local.
Great
Yeah.
guys.
Nice.
Mark
Uh,
Hagg is a badass guitar player. They have a
are they still a band?
oh yeah, they're still around.
Really?
And then their old guitar player Bob Georges, who played on the first 2 records, I think, up to Bad Hair Day. He's phenomenal. His version on they have a record called Bad Hair Day, and they have a song called Dirty Woman Blues on there. That, in my opinion, is one of the greatest rock and roll intros I've ever heard.
Wow.
It's so freaking badass.
Was it on our intro show?
It might have been.
Yeah, I would think.
It might have been.
If you're that excited about it, you probably shared it there. That would have been the time. Let's see. Okay, moving on. Where am I at now? Well, this
It's
is
a moment of silence type of intro, like everybody shut up type of intro.
like the time Greg and I got yelled at that concert because we talked over some a cappella vocal thing
Like,
and the
or the
sound guy.
meme going around that says, like, when you introduce someone to a song and they talk the whole way
Oh,
through it.
well, Greg and I were talking like, and we weren't like being loud either, but like the sound guy yelled at us and we were kind
Oh,
of
did you get shushed by a sound guy?
yeah. We opened for two bands, Limbeck, which is a band I love, and this band called Steel Train, and they had like an intro of a cappella thing, like it was supposed to be Seven Bridges Road or something, but
Oh,
I mean, it
okay.
was cool, but the harmonies were a little suspect, right? It wasn't quite tight and
Yeah.
wobbly, and so Greg and I were just kind of we didn't know it was supposed to be like this, one of the most poignant moments in music or something. And we talked
Oh,
over it, and the guy got all shh, like it was genius, and we both then we went outside and just had a laugh because it was like, well, no, not
oh, I didn't know
really.
this was
Yeah,
an Alice in Chains Unplugged type of moment.
exactly, exactly. All right, my next pick coming in at 8 minutes and 36 seconds of complete beauty and brilliance, and I mean orchestration and the genius of um Jimmy Page. It's Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, 8 minutes
Oh,
and 36 seconds. Um, often, one of the things that bothers me the most about Fast Times at Ridgemont High is the scene where he tells him to make out is the wrong. He says Led Zeppelin,
he
side
must
two,
not have
Led Zeppelin.
had it. He just had houses of the, or physical graffiti.
Yeah, because in the car, they're definitely listening to
It's
Kashmir.
so funny
Yeah.
because as soon as you said that song,
Yeah.
Mark Ratner was the first person I thought
Yeah.
of.
And when it comes, da-na-na,
And
yeah, so
then
good.
her stereo got stolen. It's out of his sister's car.
It's so good, dude. It's such a great song. It has everything. I can see. I've been into
Do you
Zeppelin
remember
always.
all the like rumors about how he did it when we were kids?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean the tuning alone, like it's a weird ass tuning to begin with. I was actually looking because I played it in the summer with an orchestra, right? School or a school orchestra. And I tuned to it and I played my 59 Dan Electro just like he would play.
Yep.
And it was fun, dude. I mean, it was fun. And it's so good that like the orchestration's so good that my friend Angela, who plays with me and who we will occasionally play with her, the school band she teaches, um, I mean, you can use it to teach orchestration and how parts work and harmony. It's that good. So yeah, that's one of my favorites of all, and it's one of my favorite Zeppelin tunes. So all right, what do you got next?
My second cover song.
Jeez, dude.
It comes in at just over 9 minutes. It's on the album Vibrato from Paul Gilbert. It is Roundabout, the Yes
Oh, the
cover.
Yes cover. Oh
It's
man.
so good. Oh, his solo in that, I mean, the guy's in Yes. I mean, whoever his Paul Gilbert's Chris Squire is killer. It's just, man, I love Paul Gilbert. Everybody knows that listens to this show, but if you've never heard that cover, it's on Vibrato. It's just so awesome.
He
He's
does
great at picking covers.
always. Yep. And
I
he
think
can
on the
play
same
anything.
record, he might do oh it's an AC/DC song. I can't remember. It's from God. It's from Highway to Hell, I think, but he does an AC/DC cover. He says at the beginning of the song, "This is a song by AC/DC. It's the best song in the whole world." I just
He
love Paul Gilbert,
I
man.
do too. We've talked about Paul Gilbert on the show a lot, about his sense of humor, about his chops, about his musicality, about the way he hears things. If you ever get a chance, there is a video. It's Paul Gilbert and Victor Wooten, I believe. Victor Wooten
Oh,
on bass, Paul Gilbert on guitar,
yeah.
and they jam. But the catch is they play one note.
Oh,
They
wow.
just play an A, like literally just play a note, not a chord, and they managed to like get a groove going with this one note, and then they both solo over it, and it's musical and cool and takes you somewhere, and they never change the note. It's really cool. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep. I love Paul Gilmore. My next pick is by obviously one of my heroes who everybody knows I love. It's by Bob Dylan. It's 7 minutes and 30 seconds long. It's Visions of Joanna.
Oh yes.
It's rapidly become, for years I would tell you that my favorite Dylan tune was either Tangled Up in Blue, held the spot for a while. Maggie's Farm has always been close to my heart. Um, go on and on. I mean, it changes for me what my favorite Dylan tune is. This tune, if I could suss it out, and like as a kid, it was a big thing for me to learn all the words to Tangled Up in Blue and play it and sing it without an iPad, without lyrics, without all that, because it's a lot of verses and a lot of. I should do that with Visions, but he phrases it so weird that it would be hard to cover. It's a great song. It's got
On
great lines.
Blonde, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
it's got great lines in it.
There's so many great songs on that record.
He's a genius, man. I mean,
The
and
leopard print pillbox
which
hat.
is a great song.
Oh,
And I actually will say this again. I don't mind Bob Dylan's voice. I may even like it. I just like how when I hear his songs in other hands, I do enjoy the vocals of those songs too. But I like the way Dylan handles Dylan's phrasing and
there's
melody.
records where his voice sounds better with the song choices. You know what I
That's
mean?
this tune. He sings this
Yeah,
very well. He
yeah.
made just like the night to play tricks when you're trying to be so quiet. It's his phrasing. It's Dylan, and Dylan does that in this song a lot.
Wasn't it your English teacher that said you should be able to do one of his songs without any
Without any, it was
help?
she was my speech and theater arts teacher, and she's like, it was that song. She said, you got to, if you want to be legitimate in this thing, right? And I was just a kid. She's
Yeah,
like, if you want to be legitimate, you'll learn all the Tangled Up in Blue. And I'm like,
without
okay,
without
without any
assistance.
lyrics, without anything in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah, she's the reason I like Dylan so much. She was a fanatic, and I don't know, there's just, the country music station plays, but there's nothing, no, there's really nothing to turn off. Just Marie, I mean, killer, man. It's just a classic Dylan tune. It's one of my favorites. So, what do you got next?
The Low Spark of High Heeled Boys by Traffic.
Oh, you brought it in. You brought it in. Love about little Stevie Winwood.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Again, there's a handful of bands in that era. Steve Winwood band and Clapton and they're Blind Faith,
yep.
Traffic. They all start to blend in Delaney and Bonnie and Cream. I don't know what the fuck Clapton was doing. He was all over
Spencer
the place.
Davis was
Spencer
Winwood.
Davis,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah, he
then,
did a lot.
well, and of course, for me as a hair metal guy, right? I found even Steve Winwood, to be honest with you, I got Blind
Kingdom
Faith.
Come.
No, I got Blind Faith through oh
Can't Find
shit.
My Way.
Who covered it?
Can't Find My Way Home.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
It was
thought it
not
was
Kingdom Come.
no?
Nope. And I'll tell you who it was. It wasn't
Lords of Sahara.
House of Lords. House of Lords.
House of Lords.
Yes.
The album was Sahara.
With Greg Giuffria, who
Yep.
was in Giuffria. He was in House of Lords. Yeah.
He was
Very
he
cool.
in
He had a band before. He was in Angel.
oh yeah.
He
Was
was
he
a
in the
keyboard
band
player.
with that did like Hot Cherie?
You make it Hardline?
Hardline? Was he in that?
Possibly, dude.
It was one of the dudes
Possibly.
from Journey. I know that.
Possibly. Yeah, Neil Sean was the guitar
Is it
player
Neil
in that.
Sean? Okay.
Yeah. I so that was like all those the Traffic and Blind Faith and all that. Once I got into it, my wife not too long ago, we were watching an old clip of the Roseanne show. And if you ever get a chance to see this, look it up. Roseanne, during some era of the show, had a friend, her friend Bonnie, right? She had this friend on the show, Bonnie, who was a bar band singer, would sing with Dan's band from time to time.
Okay.
They're in the backyard. The whole cast basically is in the backyard, but the whole family and everybody on the show, they're sitting in the backyard having beers or whatever. And I don't remember who has the guitar, if it's Dan or whoever, but they ask her friend Bonnie to sing. And she sings Really Got a Hold on Me I think it's Smokey Robin. You really got a
Yep.
hold on me. And she crushes it, right? Like people are singing with her in the cast, like it's supposed to be that, but eventually everyone stops. And my wife is like, God, holy shit, you know, this. I'm like, that's Bonnie Bramlett from Delaney and Bonnie. She was on the
Oh,
show as an actress, and it was Bonnie Bramlett. Yeah.
okay.
So pretty cool. Pretty cool. If you had a chance to check it out, Dan Connor is like plays in a band in the show, I think, or used to, or whatever. All right. So you had some low spark. All right, this is my last one because I doubled up on with you on I Want You. She's so heavy. This is the classic long song. Changed me, made me smarter, made me cool in junior high. Blew Mrs. Kestelut's mind because I was so learned and a learned man. The
Iron
Rhyme of
Maiden.
the Ancient Mariner by
Yep.
Iron Maiden. It's the best, dude. It's the best, and it's so good that number one, it tells the story.
It's got
It
spoken word. It's got
it's got
metal. It's
it's got
everything.
the long drawn out breakdown in the middle with the one after one by the star dogged moon, too quick for groan nor sigh. Each turned his face with a ghastly pang and cursed me with his eyes. So, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. It was proggy, but Steve Harris, the bass player for Iron Maiden, is a prog guy. These guys, if you go to even Killer's era or the first Iron Maiden album, you will find that buried under the galloping metal of Iron
Yeah.
Maiden, they are a prog rock band, and prog rockers respect them. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, 13 minutes long. The live versions about that, they played it live, dude. And that's with all the breakdowns. When they recorded it, they had to record it in sections because it changes tones so quickly. And
Right.
this is back in 84. Now your fractal unit or whatever your guitar unit would probably have a MIDI program change and everything. All the sounds would change. But on the 84 tour, they were playing it on the World Slavery Tour. It was killer, dude. Fog on the stage. That bait. As a matter of fact, the last time I practiced with American Hairband, Bob Barrett, who we talked about earlier, started playing the middle section of Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner on his bass because it's Steve Harris's bass line. So yeah, I'm always gonna say, and if you want long songs, I could dig around the Maiden catalog and find you
Oh
probably
yeah.
dozens. But Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is the one
Faces
that,
High is over 6, isn't it?
yeah, probably. There's early stuff that's really long. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner got me just because it was 84. Power Slave was a huge album for me,
Is
as
that the
was
last song on Power Slave? I think it is.
it may be, or it may be second to last. I feel like it might be the last song. I feel like you might be right. I don't know.
The
It's great.
Speaking of the progginess,
I love
did you
them.
see the meme I posted on the NMD Facebook page about Ghost?
Yeah, what was it?
About him walking through the metal
Oh,
detector and it
and it
says
said
no
no
metal
metal
detected.
detected. I don't think
Just
they.
It's
Someone
funny
said
because
it.
the gatekeepers of music,
Yeah,
love to say Ghost is not metal.
I don't think they are, dude.
It's
I mean,
prog, it's hair metal, it's all kinds, it's theatrical, it's all kinds of things.
there are
I call it
choruses.
Scooby Doo metal, like bands that wear masks. I call it Scooby Doo metal because
Well,
like Sermon and Crimson
obviously,
Glory and all those bands that wear masks.
my kid being a Ghost fan, right, is it turned me on. But if you listen to even like the choruses of my favorite Ghost song, I think I've told everybody I really like Call Me Little Sunshine.
Yeah, that's a great song.
And I mean, if you listen to that, Call Me Little Sunshine, I mean,
Yeah,
it's really poppy. Um,
yeah.
the Dance Macabre, I like that song. That's
Dance
super.
Macabre,
The
Witch
chorus of
Image.
that, the chorus of that sounds like freaking Journey.
I know.
You know,
Witch
um,
Image is a great song, and that's yeah. He's theatrical. He's like almost Broadway-ish.
yes. There's enough sticks. The band Sticks.
Yeah,
I can hear enough sticks in Ghost that I can relate and like them.
just no robots. That's all I ask.
Well, that's what it's missing. Probably they'd probably be huge with some robots. Yeah. So that was I don't know how we got on Ghost. Probably talking about Iron Maiden's Rhyme of the Ancient
Prague,
Mariner.
because I
Yeah,
call it
Prague.
proggy
Yeah,
metal.
it is. It is for sure. Are you got any other picks on your list? You should
I
have
have
one more.
two left. I
Oh,
have
lay them on me.
Nada from the Refreshments.
Oh
It's
yeah.
about
How
six
long is
minutes
that?
and some seconds. That's I used to play it live with like Jason Eller or Eric Calloway. I'd play
Oh,
it on
cool.
bass.
I really I
It's
gotta
a
learn that.
great song.
I
Such
kn-
a it's kind of it's not spoken word, but it's really slowed down. Great song from the Peacemakers. Well, Peacemakers still do it. It's the
yeah, it's a
Refreshments.
refreshments tune.
It's
I
from
really want to learn that single,
it's from Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy, their first record from
the hit record, right?
97.
The one that had the hit,
Yeah, that had
Banditos,
Banditos. Yep.
which is one of my favorite songs by them, and it's
And
that's the
then
song I want to learn.
oh, Banditos, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great one. And then of course, my all-time favorite instrumental song in the whole world, Flamenco Sketches from Miles Davis, Kind of Blue record.
Quinn just got it on vinyl.
Did he?
Yep,
He's on the jazz now, huh?
he's using the jazz. Yeah,
He's
he
he's
he's using it big time. So
fully hooked.
we went to and there's a new guy he likes that's like, oh, I won't remember his name either. But it's something like, Philadelphia Joe something or
Billy
some
Joe
shit.
Jones.
That's exactly who it is. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he plays drums on Moanin'. Or
Of
he
course
plays
he
drums
yes.
not on Moanin'. He plays drums on
I don't know what it is, but he's got his own album and band
oh
from
yeah.
like 60 something.
I have some Philly Joe stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
of course.
Quinn, we went to the record store and Quinn got Miles, he got Art Blakey's Moanin', and he
Yep.
got that album, that Philly Joe Jones.
Billy Joe Jones. That's a
Yep.
great record.
Yep, he's into it. So yeah, he's jazzing out quite a bit.
Good. I could get him point him in some better directions then. So
Well, and
he's
some
going the
of it,
right way.
well, some of it is it's songs he's done. Like he's played Moanin', right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a
It's
Bobby
all
Timmons song.
it's all songs that he'll get, he has to learn them for jazz band and then he gets into the artist. And then he'll like ask the older because he's out at the college playing, he'll ask those guys what they're listening to or ask his band instructor. That's how he got into this band. um I mean, it's not from me obviously, but like he likes a band called Snarky Puppy,
Oh yeah.
that kind of shit he's into because someone turned him on to it, which is cool, which is what NMD people do. You go, hey man, what are you listening cool in that genre or whatever.
I've been listening to this guy, and I don't know who I got turned on to him by. His name is Dave House. You ever heard of him?
Uh-uh.
I think he's from Philadelphia area. I think he's from Pennsylvania. He used to be like maybe more in a punky type of band, but he's got a couple solo records that I have called Kick and Blood Harmony, maybe.
Huh.
But damn, that guy, Americana-ish, little more rocky. He's got a song called The Plagiarist that's cool. Sabotage. He's badass. I think Denny Smith might have turned me on to him,
Oh
but it
yeah, I'm
sounds like a
listening to,
Denny Smith recommendation to me.
I've been stoner metal and doomy lately. Those all the memes of Bobby Lieberman from Pentagram, hair blown back,
Yeah.
eyes bulge
Your
out.
music saved me. Yeah.
I right. I first of all, that Last Days Here documentary is very good and very moving. And when I saw it, I was like, I like Pentagram. They sound like old Sabbath, like early Pentagram sounds like Sabbath,
Okay.
production wise. Um, what's that song called? She's My Queen, I think. There's a couple other songs I like, but so I've been into that lately and um deep into Sabbath. So
I've
I've
been
been
listening to this. I was listening to it earlier this morning. This band called Irish Coffee. You know them?
mm-mm,
They're
no,
it's from like 1971. It's like more psychedelic Deep Purple.
holy cow, cool.
And then there's this other cool band from Canada that I've been listening to a little bit, from like 71 or 72. The band's called War Pig,
Huh,
and it's like old Sabbath or that type of stuff.
cool. I'm into that. I'm into that for sure. Yeah, that's been my listening lately. I don't know why.
But there's a song, it's funny because you mentioned Weather Report the other day on somebody's comment or something like that with Jocko.
Uh-huh.
And Jocko plays on a song. Do you know Mike Stern, the guitar player?
Sure do.
Played with Miles.
Yep.
He has a record that came out in the 80s, I believe, called Mood Swings. And Miles plays on that song. Maybe the record is, or maybe the song's called Mood Swings. Upside Downside is the name of the record.
Okay. Huh.
But the song Mood Swings, Jocko plays on that track, and it's a longer track. It's badass. And then the
I
Wild Feathers have that like
oh, I
they have a
like
song
them.
called Goodbye Song on their it's more of I call it their more jammy record, but I can't remember what it's called.
It's not the one with like
It
lost left my
starts
woman
out
and all that.
stolen marijuana and some pain pills in a
Huh.
hotel room.
Ooh, I don't know it, but I'll check
Talking
it
to
out.
myself because I can't talk to you. That's a great song.
They're like your I still that's
Modern
still
day Eagles, man.
it's still a band that again, I still I still have this fantasy that had I thought about it in those terms, I wish I had thought about Dutch Henry in those terms, and I never did. It was always Greg and Mitch's band, you know.
Yeah.
I wish I'd and I hadn't I would say I hadn't built the confidence as a writer yet to I was barely presenting songs. I mean, they were writing great songs all the time and it was really intimidating. I sort of wish now that I had adopted that model. It used to bug me that like Greg would sing some like his songs, Mitch would sing, and then Todd would sing 44 Days in San Diego or 44 Days, maybe just 44 Days. But anyhow, I
San
couldn't
Diego is
appreciate that.
Greg, wasn't it?
He sang that, Todd wrote it.
Yeah. Todd wrote it.
I
Yeah.
always wanted a front man because I grew up so ingrained in that culture of the front guy. Now I wish I'd have seen it more like the Eagles. You know,
Yeah.
that's just how it is, I guess. The only band I ever loved that did that was the band, right? Where everybody was changing off and it
If you're
used to
into
bug me.
if you're into that doomy type of stuff, I don't know if you're into him, but the new Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is kick ass.
I've never been a huge fan,
No? Okay.
although I can appreciate, I think, a little bit, but yeah, it's never been my ride, I think. Because it wasn't poppy enough.
His last two records have been both been really good.
Yeah, I should I'm trying to think of what
Metallica does the one
yes,
song Lover Man.
they
That
cover it.
record is that whole record is kick ass. It's got Red Right Hand on it and Lover Man and I don't remember what else. I was gonna say Curse in Millhaven, but I think that's on Murder Ballads.
I feel like it was Nick Cave who covered Psycho, the song Psycho.
Maybe.
I
Oh, the
think it
one that
was.
Kittle did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Nick Cave.
Who did
I'm
that
almost sure of it.
originally? Who wrote that?
Leon Payne.
Leon Payne. Okay.
Yeah, cool song. All right. Well, there we are. Proof, though. I mean, this list, my list alone is proof that it doesn't always have to be a 3 minute pop song,
Yeah.
which is good. As long as you can hold my attention, which songs, these songs I listed doing a lot of them, dude, it's just, it's tricky. It's tricky to hold someone's
Yeah.
attention that
These
long.
are all very high rotation for me, these
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, mine too.
Especially that new Casey you got to check out Lose Yourself, that new Casey
That
Chambers.
cover. Yeah. I've
It's
written
so
it. I think I
dude.
got it on my list right here.
And can you believe Ricky Dover Jr. was on here?
Fuck, dude, that was the most fun I've had in so long. He's such a dude. And it would be easy to not be what people probably don't appreciate. I don't think they do. Um, a guy with his level of talent could be a real dickhead if he wanted to. And he
Yeah.
didn't have any of that. And
He had fun, just as much fun as we were
I
having,
think
I
so.
feel.
Yeah, I think he's just a fan of music like us. And I think that's so cool.
I'm gonna get some koozies in his hand, so maybe we'll see him on the road this summer
that would
on his amp or something.
that would be awesome. I should also say I'm starting to kick around, time is valuable. I mean, with a kid, graduate and everything, you know what it's like. But I'm starting to really warm up to the idea of I might take a John vacation. Just me. I think I will stay overnight, possibly. I think I'm gonna go see Michael Monroe, dude.
Oh, okay.
But like I told Jen, I'm like, I just want some time where I can go to this show, I can watch the show, I can leave the show, I can go to a hotel room and just hang out for the night, drive home the next day. I think I'm gonna do it. I don't know. I don't do a lot of that, but I don't know if we're gonna get a lot of Michael Monroe time. I mean, he's
I
in
would
great
do
shape.
that with you.
Yeah, I'll hit you up. If I do it, I'm gonna
An
do it.
NMD field trip, just the
I
two
know.
of us.
I know, man. I know our last one was a colossal failure. We were gonna go to Detroit and got stuck in that traffic,
Oh,
remember?
the traffic.
That was horrible. That was a
We
horrible
should have been
experience.
listening to Steve Winwood with how bad the traffic was.
Oh God. What do you got for parting words for us today?
If I ever get out of here, I'm going to Kathmandu.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes,
See you
that
later.
song is over 6 minutes.
See you, everyone.
See you, everybody.